Welcome back to Valley News Now. I'm Adam Chalifoux and joined by Eric Moon. Eric at the Ralph. Eric looking sharp and a great Wednesday morning to talk a little hockey. You guys just wrapping up the press conference up there in Grand Forks. Let's just get right into it. A strong win over Providence, and that's got to put a lot of minds at ease for UND fans, who I know were a little worried after the Augustana situation in the exhibition.
Yeah, Adam, it's good to be talking with you this morning. I know we tried to do this last week, but it's great that we got it up and running this week. And by the way, the quarter zip always works, got to learn from the Mannings. But yeah, I think it put a few minds at ease because the exhibition was just so unexpected based on how exhibitions have gone in previous years. So to get not only on the ground running with that regular season win over Providence, but also a top 15 win, yeah, it puts some minds at ease, but it's only one game so far. So they know, and the team said so today, that it's one game, it's time to keep moving forward and keep that intensity.
Do you think there was any main theme from that press conference, anything that really stood out to you?
Yeah, they talked a lot about having a fast start coming up this weekend against Mankato, which was a bit of a struggle against Providence, which that is exactly what happened against Augustana. Augustana popped a couple goals pretty early in that first period in the exhibition, and the start wasn't what UND wanted necessarily in the first 5 or 6 minutes against Providence either. What really got them going, as they talked about Saturday night, was what happened in the first 6 minutes where Providence went offside, and then a Friar player shot the puck into the back of the net anyway. That really got the guys motivated and got their legs moving and all that stuff. That's the way hockey works sometimes. So a little fisticuffs can get some guys into the game. But they did talk a lot about getting a fast start in Mankato, and that's especially important when you're going on the road for the first time with a lot of younger guys as well.
And Mankato's really built an amazing program and kind of all over the place, though, this season, opening up with a 5-2 win over Michigan. Then they lose 4-1 to Michigan, and then they split with Merrimack College. And so definitely a signature win over the Wolverines, now getting ready to host number 5 UND, and Mankato coming in number 20. The team talked about the experience of Mankato. Anything that you feel like is really going to be an X factor in this next matchup for North Dakota and Mankato?
Yeah, I mentioned the fast start a little bit, but that's especially important against, you mentioned it, Adam, the experienced team like Minnesota State, an experienced team, a big team. It's tough to score against them, and it's interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see which Mavericks team shows up on both nights too, because again, they've split the first 2 series they've played this season. They split against Michigan, they split against Merrimack. By the way, Merrimack's an interesting story too. Just to get off base for a second, they had an emergency backup goalie, a David Ayers situation in their first series of the season, and they bounced back really well and got a really good win for that program against Minnesota State. But the Mavericks really needed that second win after losing the first game against Merrimack to get back on track a little bit. So you got 2 teams here coming up this weekend, a ranked matchup that is between old conference foes. That's going to be interesting because both of them just got back on track, and we'll see who can keep up that intensity.
And so North Dakota now moving up just 1 spot, but going up to number 5. Anything there for you? Does that matter?
Maybe not as much early in the season, but it shows you that North Dakota has with that win against Providence has shown the country still that, hey, we're still North Dakota. It doesn't matter if we lost to Augustana. We know that we're better than that, and they showed that against Providence on Saturday night, and they hope to continue that against Minnesota State. And it's a really big weekend for UND to get a couple of wins as well, because look at who's next on the schedule. Boston University, that's the number 3 team in the country, one of the few teams ranked higher than North Dakota. That is going to be a massive non-conference series here at the Ralph next weekend, and then you go on the road to Cornell. Every game is tough for UND, but they purposely scheduled it this way because they want to play the best and they want to beat the best.
Now, I don't want to have you show your cards, but I understand we're going to be meeting Sasha Boisvert soon. So without giving anything away, who is Sasha Boisvert? Am I saying that right? And what's the story going to be about?
Boisvert, yeah, it's Boisvert. And Adam, you're a Blackhawks fan, right? Is the Chicago guy?
Of course, of course.
Yes, so you're going to get pretty familiar with him as well because he's a Chicago Blackhawks draft pick, one of 3 current UND players that were selected in the NHL entry draft this year in Vegas. A lot of UND fans were introduced to Sasha Boisvert, one of the 8 freshmen on this team, when he scored his first goal here at the North Dakota on Saturday night. It was just a laser beam shot. Brad Berry called it an NHL-ready shot right over the glove of the Providence goalie, a power play goal. And he's got an interesting story, Sasha Boisvert. A lot of people, I can't speak for UND fans, but Sasha Boisvert does remind me a little bit of Jonathan Toews, of course. They're both two-way centers. They're both Chicago Blackhawk draft picks, and they both have worn number 9 here at North Dakota. So a lot of similarities there, but Sasha's already making his own mark wearing that jersey number here. And he's also making some history this season. This was a bit of a surprising fact to me when I found this out over the summer. He's actually the first Quebec-born player in UND history. You would think that would have happened by, before 2024, but it's interesting that it has happened now finally. And Sasha's journey to here is also pretty interesting because he grew up in Trois-Rivières, Quebec, and he came to the U.S. When he was only 14 years old to play hockey, and he didn't know a word of English. And in the last 4 years since he came over here to play hockey in the United States, Sasha has gone from not knowing a word of English to now being fluent, and his accent is almost completely gone. It's something that he calls one of his proudest accomplishments, to learn English and be fluent in English, and now he can teach his family a little bit too. So we'll have that story coming up tomorrow on Valley News Live at 6 o'clock, and it's going to be it's not quite done yet, but it's going to be a really fun one to tell for sure, Adam.
Well, that's music in my ears as a Blackhawks fan, and I'm sure music to the ears of many UND fans. I love the number 9 connection. That's fantastic. I have a Toews bobblehead in the sports room. I have a sports room at my house, and so I have the Toews UND bobblehead in there. Hopefully I add a Boisvert once he goes to the Blackhawks. That'll be very exciting. Looking forward to that story, Eric. I know you got a long drive
really
back.
Good next to each other.
Oh, say that again?
Those will look great next to each other, the 2 bobbleheads, if we get down that road.
Absolutely. Eric, I know you got a long drive back and some more work to do up at the Ralph. Anything else you'd like to add before I let you back to it?
Not a whole lot. Just, North Dakota's ready to go for this weekend. Again, like I said off the top, it's the intensity and the fast start that they really want to bring to Mankato this weekend. And it's UND's only playing its 2nd game of the regular season. Minnesota State's playing its 5th. So it's really important for UND, especially on the road, to get that fast start this weekend, and we'll see how they do Friday and Saturday night.
Excellent. Thank you so much. That's Eric Moon at the Ralph. Stick with us. Great coverage, it sounds like, coming up on Valley News Live Sports later in the week. Until now, thank you for tuning in on Valley News Now, and we'll see you next time. Eric, safe drive back, and we'll see you soon.